Hello, I am Trey Ratcliff, and I'm here to talk to you today about these two Sony cameras, the Sony A7R Mark II and the Sony RX100 Mark IV. That's right, yeah. It's hard to keep track of all this stuff, and I'm kind of an expert in it, I guess. So let me first talk about this one, all right? Now, this is sort of like the flagship of this of the Sony A7 lines. The Sony A7R II has 42.4 megapixels, which is enormous. Couldn't be any bigger, really. It has the new 5-axis stabilization, which means that the sensor kind of revolves around inside, and it makes all of your lenses that you have totally stabilized as well. So that will allow you to use a slower shutter speed, and you can maybe have a little bit higher ISO shot, but you'll get a nice steady shot with that axis stabilization. It also has a new upgraded autofocus system, which is basically 40% faster. The way they achieved this is now they have 399 points of focus, so it's incredibly fast. I used a younger sibling of this one in Africa, the A6000, and the autofocus system on that was unbelievable. I never had an autofocus shot of an animal. It's just an unbelievable system what these guys are doing. So this is their most expensive one, the A7R II. That's probably the only downside. It's about $3,000, although it is cheaper than a lot of high-end DSLRs, so that's good. But a lot of the pros about it are that you can put any lens you want to on there. Right here I have a Leica lens on. This is a Leica 21mm Summicron f1.4. And yeah, I just totally love it. This camera, it completes me. Now, its younger brother, this is the Sony RX100 Mark IV, and it is a great camera too. It's super handy dandy. This is actually the main camera that I use like at Burning Man, or sometimes when I'm just walking around the streets, I want to do street photos. You know, once you get into photography, you're just like addicted to it. You can't get enough of it. So even walking around the streets of San Francisco here yesterday, I was using this. It's got an amazing back on it. It folds out. It does all kinds of crazy stuff. You know, you go totally Cirque du Soleil with this thing. It's great. If you don't want to use up all your battery power, one of my hot little tips is just to pop open this thing, okay, and that turns it off automatically. And this is your kind of electronic viewfinder, which you can look through right there. It's an amazing image. It has a new sensor stacking system, so it can write super fast to the card. What that means, basically, is you get 16 frames per second, which is unbelievable. I mean, super fast. There's no way you can miss a shot at 16 frames per second. And then also, this does 4K video. And one of the coolest features, and I don't know if anyone thinks this feature is as cool as I do, but it shoots video at up to 960 frames per second, and that's at 1080p. You can reduce that down in a few variants to 720 or to 480 frames per second or 240 frames per second. But you can do some really cool artsy slow-mo motion stuff with that, and it's super duper cool. Anyway, I have camera recommendations on my site on Stuck in Customs. I kind of have good, better, best, and I'm in the process now of possibly putting this camera as the most inexpensive version. It's at about $1,000. But it's so great. It does auto bracketing and just like raw photos. It does everything you need. So this might become my entry-level camera. All right, so this one is definitely a buy as well.